In the heart of the forest, legends awaken from the shadows. The tales of Sasquatch echo through time, a mystery that remains unsolved.
As the smoke clears, the sign stands resolute, a beacon of intrigue. What secrets lie within the forest's depths? The quest for truth begins at Sasquatch Watch Radio. Here's Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is Monday, April the 7th, 2025. We got a good show lined up for you. First of all, I want to apologize. We were supposed to have Stephen Brown on here, but we tried to get him connected last night and do a pre-recorded show, but we were having some issues getting his audio to work, so we had to come up with a last-minute decision. So that's where we made the decision to do if y'all remember, I put up like 5 topics, and I picked topic number 2 that was next, which was the best Bigfoot research tools. So that's what we're going to discuss tonight. And remember, guys, today's April 7th, so we're starting the contest. So I hope everybody comes into the chat tonight, whether you're on the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat. I will give you a heads up. The Facebook chat has about a 3-second delay. So the live video is about a 3-second delay. So I highly advise you to get on the YouTube chat if you want to be able to get your speedy lightning fingers typing on the keyboard to answer the quiz, the Bigfoot quiz for tonight to win a prize. So that will happen tonight. Just wanted to give you the heads up. So exercise your fingers while you're listening to the show tonight. Hey, you can exercise your fingers by chatting in the chat tonight and give us some ideas on our show. So that'll work out. All right. Without further ado, let's get our other host in here. How you doing tonight, Gary?
Pretty good. How are you, Billy?
I'm getting better. A little bit of a sore throat. Got a little bit of congestion, but I'm doing okay.
Brother, I feel for you. I've struggled with an ear infection for over a month now.
Oh, it could be worse. I can reassure you that. I feel a whole lot better today than I did last night.
Oh, God, yes. Billy sounded really bad, I'm telling you.
Oh, I was rough. I was in a rough shape last night. So I feel a whole lot better. I got up this morning. I was really dizzy, lightheaded. But I took some Tylenol, and then I've been taking Tylenol and then Advil, going back and forth. That's what they advise you to do. And it keeps the fever and the chills down. So I'm pretty sure it's the flu though. It's got all the major hey, you got the flu items.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's always them markers, boy, they'll get you.
That is for sure. So see, we got quite a few coming in the chat, so that's good, y'all. That means you guys can be ready for this. And I promised I was going to make it easy on the first question. So any Bigfoot enthusiast will be able to answer tonight's question. So anyone that's, been in this a while and has done all the, been all over the internet, you trust me, you'll, it's not a hard one. So, but we will get to that later. But right now we're going to get into our topic tonight. Bigfoot research tools. What are some of the best tools? And you all feel free to chime in on this, because you may think of some tools that we're not even thinking of. So, the first one that comes to my mind that you hear a lot of people talk about are trail cameras. There's all types of trail cameras now. They're getting smaller and smaller. So quite a few of those out there. What about you, Gary? What do you think?
Everybody's going to kind of have different opinions, but the very first thing I wanted to start with is you've got to be your own best tool.
Yeah.
When you're out researching, you need to listen. There's subtle hints that you can pick up inside the forest itself. If the forest all of a sudden goes completely quiet, there's no bugs, there's no birds, some type of predator is moving near you.
Yeah.
Look, when you're in the woods, you need to look. You need to look at the obvious things and then look at the things that are there, but maybe are not exactly the way they should be.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious, but also look for the obviously out of place.
Right.
Smell, that's a big thing. You know, there's lots of talk about, Bigfoot having different smells and things like that. I've never experienced that myself.
Right.
But you can actually distinguish between different types of animals by their smell.
Yeah.
The longer you're in the woods, the more your primitive senses come back. And I've said this on the show before too. That's why when you're outside and you're barbecuing and you have hot dogs, hamburgers, things like that, the food tastes so much better because your senses are more alive while you're outside. And, feel is another thing too. You can actually check tracks. You can kind of, I'm not saying ruin a good track, but you can feel to see what type of, medium the track is in, whether it's hard, whether it's soft, how things can, play into that. So that's my biggest thing is be your own best tool.
Mm-hmm.
Learn what you can do out in the woods. That's an important thing.
Yeah. I was going to mention, when I first was talking about the trail cameras, I just want to pull this up. I want to show you guys this. Things have come a long way, Gary, since we, started in this. I mean, just look at this right here. Okay, now you have, right here. This one will work on your cell phone. Look at this one right here. They got a little small mini trail camera, and look at the price, $29. I mean, when we were buying these things, they were over $100, all of them. I mean,
yeah.
Here, look, this one right here. Yeah, and this one's got cell coverage, and it's $50. I mean, so they got some really good, stuff out there now. Much better than what they had before. So,
yeah, I mean, it's incredible how technology has moved along. And, I'm not trying to cut you off or anything, Billy, but on the subject of cameras, it's important to have a camera with you.
yes.
And everybody says, hey, I've got a camera. I have my cell phone. My cell phone is my camera. That's great.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to have something that you can just point and shoot.
Yep.
Because It may take you a minute to pull that camera up. And that's precious time that you probably don't have.
Yep.
So some type of, it doesn't have to be expensive. These things, digital cameras, whatever, point, click. And it's quick and they're small. You can carry them anywhere.
Yep. That's it. Let's see. Here's another one that a lot of people. Now this is when you get on the expensive side of things, right? We all know that we can get on the expensive side. So this is what everybody's dreams are here, right?
Oh yeah.
Flare. Now all of them used to be over $1,000, but now they've come down. I mean, you can now. I don't know if I'd buy one off Temu, guys. I mean, I'll be honest. The Temu stuff is not all that. I'll reassure you. But here, look. This is a flare right here for $400. I mean, flare is top of the line. I mean, so they're nowadays you have. I don't see them in this list here, but nowadays you have the attachments that you can put on your cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it in here actually. Usually they have some listed, but I don't see them. But yeah, you can get them for your cell phones now, and I mean they're handy as you know, Gary. They're really handy, especially if you got something coming up on you that you'd like to know about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But another thing too is you need to familiarize yourself with your equipment.
Right.
Like I said, precious time in the field is something that you don't have. Practice with your equipment.
Yep.
And another thing too is don't overload yourself. Look, you can carry 900 pounds worth of stuff out in the woods and not use half of it.
Yep.
So, learn what you're going to use, what works, what doesn't work. And as far as, like cameras and stuff go, one of my picks too is a good optic. Whether it's binoculars, whether it's night vision, whether it's thermal, and something with a recording capability is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
A picture says 1,000 words, but we'll go back to the Patterson and Gimlin film. A few seconds of a recording can be very definitive.
Yes, absolutely. You were mentioning, you didn't want to overdo it, carry too much. I had so many conversations with our friend Tom about how much stuff he'd put in his backpack. And I'm like, Tom, look, if we go out and we find a footprint, don't carry all that plaster and water in your backpack. We can mark the site with our GPS, protect the print, go back to the vehicle and get the plaster in the water, and then we can take, you don't want to be carrying that stuff around with you all day long.
And I'm telling you, that dude had to be strong. Because he packed it, Jack. He carried it.
Yeah, he did. Of course, the last time he did that, the one time he did that when we were on a site, he tried to jump a creek and the counterweight of the backpack pulled him into the creek.
It'll do it. It'll do it.
Well, there's so much for that plaster. No, he had it in Ziploc bags, so it didn't hurt it.
Another good point too, Billy, that I wanted to bring up was proper attire. Yep. The clothing that you wear can be a very, very important tool. Make sure that you have the proper attire, not only just for the location, but also for the activity that you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
It may be 90 degrees and you got on a tank top and a pair of shorts and sandals, and you see something and you go off after it, and then you're wading through stinging nettles, or you go by a swampy area where there's possibly poisonous snakes. Make sure that your clothing is appropriate for the activity that you're doing, whether that's hiking, Bigfooting, anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Here is another thing that a lot of people think about. Let's see if I can pull this one up. All right, so here's several different. I can't say enough about Zoom recorders. Okay, I had a Zoom recorder. That thing is excellent. A lot of times people use these when they go to like concerts and orchestras, and stuff like that, because they got amazing recording ability. So Zoom, I've heard a lot of people that like the Tascam. Some of these things are expensive, but then I've had, smaller ones like this, and the Sony digital recorder. But where these come in handy, especially, not only can you have them on as you're kind of walking and doing your thing, but you can also find a way to do the in and the out, because they have plugs where you can do an in and out and hook them up to your bionic ear, your parabolic mic. So it comes in a lot handy for that too. And
with that, I'm going to throw in, and not sponsored or anything, but a little plug for a guest that we had, Charles Kimbrough, KimbroughAudio.com. He makes microphones. He uses these small recorders. He attaches actual stereo microphones to them, hangs them up, and He can run them. I think he said for 30 days, wasn't it, Billy?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Phenomenal piece of equipment to use in the field. You don't even have to be there.
Yeah, just
to
leave
get this
it.
stuff. Yeah, and I mean that's incredible.
Exactly.
McPherson.
Yeah, I wish, you know what? I actually might have a picture of his tent somewhere with his blow up sofa.
Yeah,
that turns into a king size bed.
I even went as far as to say that he had mink sheets on that baby. My thing, we was in the field one time, Mick, with Bruce, and I hate to get into storytelling, when we're doing a show, but this is a good one. I looked in Bruce's tent, and there's this inflatable couch that folds down and makes a king size bed, and he has his computer set up, and he has like a 30-some inch TV as a monitor. So he's just sitting in there chilling, kicked back in a like a reclining lounge chair, watching a movie on his computer. And I was like, Jesus, you're really roughing it, pal. Really roughing it.
with his inverter out there, real quiet, charging, running everything.
That was pretty wild.
Oh, he's hilarious.
He definitely had to set up.
Yeah. And of course his excuse was he brought all that because somebody supposedly had a flash drive or something that they had recorded something out in a field. And he brought all that so he could analyze it, and they couldn't get it downloaded because it was like a corrupted file or something. Mm-hmm. He got it downloaded. He did get it downloaded. I have to give him that. But it was funny because it ended up being like a balloon. Because when you looked at it, it was kind of floating, and they had two still pictures of it, and you could tell it was like a balloon, that somebody had released or something. So, but hey, he got it downloaded, so I give him that.
Another thing I wanted to bring up too, as far as tools go, which we talked about, our friend Tom, navigation tools.
Yep.
Compass, GPS system, maps. All of these are important things to have. I actually like a compass. I actually carry one, and a lot of people laugh about this, but I carry a little small survival pack in my truck all the time.
Yep.
And one of the things that's in it is a brass compass. And it's an excellent piece. It doesn't require batteries. It's always ready. So it's one of those never fail type of deals. And maps are really important too. You can pick up maps just about anywhere. You can even get a hold of some of these national forests, and they'll actually provide you with a map.
Mm-hmm.
That's always something to keep in mind, because you don't want to show up to a research area and say, "Hey, right here's where I want to go," and go out there and find out that you're on the cusp of a 100-foot ravine or something.
Yeah,
that's not a good way to find out, especially if you're going out there for the first time at night.
Right. Yeah, one of the best GPS systems that we've used is the Garmin Rhinos. The reason I like these so much is because anyone who has the same product, you can see where each other's position is at all times. They have downloadable maps, topo maps, and it's also a two-way radio, so you can actually communicate with one another, and every time you communicate and you hit that repeater button, it updates your location on that map. So these things come in handy, especially if you're in an area and you're just wanting to keep track of each other and where they're at. And, but again, it's like any other electronic product. You can't always totally rely on it, because just like any electronic, something can go wrong.
They have their uses, and they are wonderful.
Right.
I can remember when I was in the Gulf War in the 90s, in 1990, We used one of the first military GPSs, and I swear that thing was like this long. It was huge. It was a burden to carry. I mean, it was a huge brick, but they worked.
It's kind of like the old cell phones. Remember the old bag phones?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. I think we actually still have one laying around the house here.
I think I finally got rid of mine. It was an old, what was it called? Singular or Cellular One?
Cellular One, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that thing. You tried to make sure you kept it within a minute. Because it was costing you quite a bit.
Burned you up.
Now we can just stay on our cell phones all day long.
That's another good point too. Your cell phone. The cell phone can be an important tool, but don't use it as a crutch.
No.
Because cell phones can be very limited, especially if you're trying to use a map that you've downloaded on your cell phone. You may not have service.
Yeah.
Your cell phone is not a flashlight. I encourage everybody that goes into the field, take a flashlight.
Yeah.
Take a flashlight. It gets dark really quick in places.
Let me see if I can find that program that I recently downloaded. There is, I think it's this one. I think it's this one. I found this app. We have it at the state of Virginia, and that's where I got it. And it's called, bear with me a minute. I knew it was coming. Yeah, you probably won't be able to see it if I turn it. But it's called Avenza, Avenza, Avenza Maps. You can download that app onto your phone, and you can download the maps to where you can use them offline.
That's a good
That way you don't have to have cell phone service. It still tracks you by satellite. I've tested it. It does work. That way, because typically you can get some satellite, even if you're in the woods, as you're moving along. It usually does track you. And of course, as we all know, I think most cell phones now have opened up to where if you don't have cell phone coverage, that they'll now connect to Starlink satellites for texting.
That's a good.
So if you get yourself in a situation, at least you can text.
And I'm gonna hop in here on this one. Bronze Age John, how you doing, John? Since the most important thing to bring was Billy. I would say this. I've been on a few expeditions, and if you had to look for John, find Billy. John was right there.
Well, at least he's back in the woods.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Something else I wanted to bring up too, and a lot of people don't think about this, with some type of observation blind. If you're in an area and you're getting good encounters and you have good evidence showing up and things like that, it's not going to hurt to set up some type of observation blind. Now, whether that's something as simple as, and I hate to say it like this, but like a military sniper's hide, use some camo netting, buy a deer blind. You can actually use natural materials to build a blind. It all depends on how much that you're willing to, put into it and all that other stuff. But an observation blind could be the critical thing when it comes to catching a good video or a good photograph or something like that.
Absolutely.
And like I said, if you're in an area and you think that it's a pretty hot spot, I'll give you a hint from an old hunter. Set it up and leave it. Let the other animals in the forest get used to seeing it. Now, it may be camouflaged. It may be the greatest blind ever and all that other stuff. But animals will notice when something is out of place. And all of a sudden, there's not going to be a TP-shaped tree just grow up out of place.
Yep.
Set it up, leave it up, let them get accustomed to it.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like, when we go out, you go out and I like to take a camping chair and just go somewhere off trail and just sit in the middle of the woods. And the longer you sit there and you stay still and you stay quiet, before long, the squirrels, the birds, everything's coming right up to you. Because they realize, first of all, you realize you're not a threat. Number two, if you're sitting there and you're patient and not making any noise, they don't feel you as being a threat, and they'll just start coming up to you.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. Thomas Seawood talked about it before. You're wearing camouflage and stuff. That's great. Everybody thinks, I'm going to camo out and I'm going to go into the woods. And I'm guilty of it. I've done it, on expeditions. But I don't think necessarily that camouflage is that important as far as the tool goes for Bigfooting, because Thomas Seawood said that it turns you into a predator because you're concealing yourself. And he believes that Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, can sense that. So, there's nothing wrong with wearing jeans and just regular, appropriate attire. It doesn't necessarily have to be camouflage.
Yeah.
But if that's what you want to do, by all means, try it.
Right. Some people wear it just because, some of that material is made where, the thorns won't come through it.
Yes, sir.
Pretty hefty stuff and that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's take a little break. So I decided tonight that we would, we got to make a research song about tools. So I created a song about Bigfooting research tools. Here we go.
Trail cam set up on the old oak tree with a thermal imager watching over my shoulder. Could it be the legends just a breath away from me, casting material, waiting footprints in the twilight? Every little sound makes my heart skip a beat. Experiences taught me to embrace the strange light. Got my audio recorder ready, what will I need? It's the calls of the wild, the whispers of the night. Give me those Bigfoot sights. I walk the trails, mapping every single story. With each step I take, I find a hidden clue. In the tales of the woods, I'm chasing all the glory. Finding footprints so fresh, I know they once were true. Every snap of a branch sends my senses reeling. Is that a shadow moving, or just a trick of the mind? With my gear in hand, it's the thrill I'm feeling. This quest for the truth is what's keeping me blind. It's the calls of the wild, the whispers of the night. Give me those Bigfoot sights. Here in the silence, the mystery will grow. With my tools in hand, I'm ready to know. Each rustle and whisper brings hope anew. In the search for a legend, what's keeping me blind? It's the calls of the wild, the whispers of the night. Give me those Bigfoot sights. It's the calls of the wild, the whispers of the night. Give me those Bigfoot sights.
There it is. Make any kind of music about anything.
It's awesome. That program amazes me every time.
I know. Does me too. All right. Let's see here. What else can we let's see? Trying to think of some other stuff that we use in the field. Let's see here. So
Billy, I'm
like
gonna bring
using-
one up
Okay,
if you don't mind. And
go for it.
everybody overlooks this
Okay.
field guide.
Yeah.
Notepads, pens, something that you want to write down, different ideals that you have. I have one notebook here that's just for field notes. I have one notebook here that I run ideas through.
Yep.
I keep everything written down. That way I can see what works, what doesn't work. And a field guide as far as like native species in that area, what you might find, what, what's out there, what the tracks look like, everything like that. David,
Yep.
good point.
Yep.
Point.
Hey, Bruce would agree with him on that one.
And I'm 100% with him on that. So just Billy last night. It's one of my favorites. It's high carbon steel. You don't have to have anything huge like that. Simple pocket knife will work, or even a small fixed blade.
Yep.
But a knife is something that if you take one with you, you need to make sure that it's sharp. You know how to use it.
Yep.
A dull knife will hurt you quicker than a sharp knife will.
Yes, it will. Absolutely will. All right, so here, I like showing all the expensive stuff.
You can tell who's got all the money in the group.
So here's the bionic ears. This one right here is the one that I had. And the reason I like it is because you can hook this thing right into a recorder and do the recording. But I've seen a lot of people carry these handheld ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot too in the field. You can get them for a little bit of a better price. But this is the one that I used and didn't have any issues with it. It was pretty good. So another expensive, well, can be expensive. Some of them are not that expensive. So.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. The technology's really come along enough now, Billy, that they're actually quite affordable in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Where you can get a good, long distance hearing device.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we made a bracket for ours where we could set it up on like a camera tripod.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could turn it. So stuff like that comes in handy. But I have to agree, those things that is it Greg that made them? Who was it that made those? I'm trying to remember what he calls them. I was going to try to bring one up. Those the ones he hangs up in the trees.
Yeah, that was Charles Kimbrough. Yeah,
I can't remember what he called them.
I don't either. But I mean, it's remarkable design. I mean, he come up with the design itself, and it's pretty slick. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I may be able to find it.
Well, while you're doing that, Billy, I'm going to hit another one here, if you don't care.
Okay. Go for it.
Another important research tool is water or some way to purify water.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important, even if it's just a short mile hike, it's not going to hurt to have water with you.
Right.
Snacks or a food supply, depending on the length of your expedition.
Yep.
Even if it's just a mile hike, it's not going to hurt to have some trail mix or something in your pack, some power bars or something like that, just to, carry with you. And it was brought up earlier, a first aid kit. That's something you can go completely wild with. You can spend a ton of money on one, or, you have just a simple, basic first aid kit. I actually have different first aid kits. I have one that we carry when my son and my father-in-law when we go to the range, it has quick clock and things like that in case there is a firearms accident.
Yep.
And then I have another smaller one, that's just basic first aid, some wound wash, Band-Aids, some gauze, things like that. First aid kits are important. It doesn't take much to get hurt sometimes.
Nope, not at all. Matter of fact, I did something stupid the other day when I was out. I think it was back on Friday. I was out looking at a site, had my machete with me, and that machete's sharp. And I was going through some thick areas, and I was whacking the limbs out of the way, and it's got a lanyard on it that goes around your wrist. So what did I do? Yeah, Mr. Tough Guy. The handle slides out of my hand, so doing the sensible thing and just reaching down, I decided I'd try to fling it up. And when I flung it up, it caught my index finger and went right through it.
Oh,
I mean, sharp, right through it. So I'm trying to get back to the truck. I'm holding my finger up against my pants to hold pressure on it because it's squirting. You always do something stupid, No,
it happens. I mean, and it's unavoidable. I mean, something happens. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, life-threatening. When you're actually in the forest and things like that, bacteria is a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
And a small cut can turn out to be very serious pretty quick.
Absolutely.
Pretty quick.
Sure can. Sure can.
Ron's age John brought one up right here. Firearm. And
guess what? That's not for the Bigfoot.
No, I'm a big proponent of carrying. I'm not a huge proponent of shooting a Bigfoot myself. I think the evidence of a body is what it's going to take to prove it. I'm probably not the person to shoot one.
Yep.
The filter straws for water.
Yep.
Excellent choice.
I've got some of those. Those are actually in my bug out bag. My 3-day pack.
Thomas, I don't know in Canada if you guys have the same brands that we do, but we have life straws, of course, and I think they're pretty much worldwide. There's also a Sawyer that works really good. Sawyer actually has a system in Walmart. I think it might be $30, but you can purify, I think, about 3 liters at a time. It has a collection bag where the straw fits into it, and it filters out into another container, so that's pretty good. But there's a lot of options as far as protecting yourself. Bear spray. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been on the receiving end where I worked in corrections of the OC gas, the pepper spray. And I am going to tell you right now, that stuff is wicked. Wicked.
Yeah.
And Bronte John brought up another good point too. Comfortable boots.
Yeah, and boots that keep your feet dry.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes.
That can be a problem.
I actually mentioned it offline to Thomas. He says it's hard to find clothes that aren't camouflaged for your outdoor activities. I'm not a fan of cotton in the woods because if your cotton clothes get wet, you're in for a long, cold day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of wool, like wool socks. And just to be honest, geez, if you can carry an extra pair of socks, there you go, extra pair of socks. If you can carry an extra pair of socks, that's wonderful. That's essential. Because once you hike for a while, your feet are going to get wet. Once your socks get wet, you're going to start creating blisters, which creates more problems.
Yeah.
Another thing too is a shelter. And I hate to, keep going back to the incident that happened right around Christmas with the 2 guys that died in Washington. They weren't prepared for the weather. If you're going to be on a long expedition, a good tent will make you or break you. If you can keep that tent warm and you're warm inside, your expedition will go a whole lot better. You'll feel a whole lot more comfortable. And it doesn't have to be anything huge either. I actually have I think it might be that long, folded up, and it's probably about that thick. But it's one of these Mylar, it's a tent. And I carry that because not only could you use it for a shelter, but if you're cold enough, you can crawl down inside that thing and it will keep you fairly warm.
There you go. Thomas has got an acronym.
Cold.
Keep cloths clean. O, avoid overheating. L, clothes loose and in layers. And D, keep clothes dry.
Very good.
Yep.
I'll tell you too, as far as keeping your clothes dry. Les Stroud, I'm a big fan of Les Stroud's, and he put it out there: if you sweat, you die in a cold weather environment. Layer up, that way you can shed layers when you need to, and layer back up when you're cold.
Right.
You want to try to keep that moisture away from you. So if you're out there and you've got on 3 shirts and you soak through all 3 of those shirts, you're in trouble.
Yep.
You're in trouble.
Yep. For sure.
And another thing
All right.
Go ahead, Billy.
No, go ahead before I'm gonna let you
Another
finish
thing I like to
before
carry too, and it's on every expedition, is some simple fire making tools. You can buy these little lighters, butane lighters at the store. They might be 50 cents, $1 a piece, whatever. Carry 1 or 2 of them in your pocket. I carry a magnesium and fire rod too. If you do get wet or you do get stuck, it can save your life.
Yep, and Bruce used to always carry a container of cotton balls that he's layered with petroleum jelly, so that it's easier to start a fire.
I'll tell you something else that works good too, and a lot of people laugh about is I keep a bag of dryer lint.
Yeah.
Dry clothes.
Yeah.
That stuff is wonderful. Because it is dead bone dry.
Yep.
It is wonderful.
Absolutely. All right. I figure everybody's been waiting here. So here's what we're going to do. We're getting ready to put a question up. This will be the question. And what we'll do is whoever the winner is, I will give you the email address that you can send me an email so that everybody, you're not putting your shipping address out to everybody on public. So here we go. Here is the question for tonight. We're going to watch the chat and see who answers this correctly first. Here we go. What is the exact date, month, day, and year that is widely recognized as the time when Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin captured the famous footage in Bluff Creek, California? Let's see who gets it first. And Thomas Steenberg has it. Thomas Steenberg. I knew Tom was going to. So yes, that is correct. October 20, 1967. All right, so Tom, here is, let me give you this.
And children, I'm just going to tell you, it was hard for me not to type that in myself. I'm competitive. I can't help it.
Thomas, if you send me an email to that, I'm getting ready to show you what you have won. And that's where you can send it to me. And let me show you what you have won today. See if I can get it to pull up. Oh, wrong button. Let me try again. So there you go. You have won a DVD copy of the Mothman Prophecies.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So that is what you have won, Thomas. So if you send your address to that email account, I will put that in the mail to you up there in British Columbia.
BC, the Great White North.
Oh no, they might tear that thing apart thinking I'm sending you something that's not supposed to come across the border. I'll be like, what is this? Mothman Prophecies? This is some kind of conspiracy. Never know. All right. So there, I'll leave the email up there for you, Thomas. And congratulations. We'll do another one. Next week. And next week, of course, we're going to have Mr. Bob Strain on. So we'll have him on the show next week. All right. So what else do we got, Gary? Do we got any other fancy
There's actually
tools?
A lot of things out there. I went with just some of the basic stuff, stuff that's easy, to get into when you're first starting out. But I mean, you can make it as complex as you wanted to. As far as camera arrays go, you've talked about Bildren Guinness's van, where he had the cameras on the roof of the van that was pan and tilt.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I mean,
that was pretty awesome. So David Rosty, it looks like Thomas Steenberg is saying that he will give it to the second place poster. So that's up to Thomas. He's the one that won. So David Rosty, if you send me an email there and with your mailing address, I'll get that put in the mail to you. That's mighty nice of you, Thomas.
Good job. Excellent. One thing, too, that we can talk about a little bit as far as tools go is knowledge. And, talking about Thomas, that brings that up. Thomas Steenberg is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
When it comes to, what to look for in the woods. Looks like David says he's already got it.
All right, Jeffy Smith.
Smith.
So if you send me an email to that email address with your mailing address, and don't you dare tell me that you have it.
But like I said, somebody that's knowledgeable. There's people that's been doing this for 40, 50 years, and that knowledge it's irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's gone, it's kind of gone.
Yeah.
And a lot of new Bigfooters, when they first come into the field, they get hung up in a lot of this old. That's the reason some of this old stuff that's kind of, I don't want to say bogus, but really not that applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps coming up over and over and over and over and over. Is that you don't have that knowledge there. And like I said, people like Thomas Steenberg and Digger Dog. Digger Dog's been doing this forever. People like that information is important.
Yeah.
If you can find somebody in your group or if you're just individual, search around, get some books, read up on things. Tennessee Cherokee, 40 years. That's important stuff. And that type of stuff, is irreplaceable. You can't come up to that on your own. You kind of have
Right.
to learn. And I was really fortunate when I first started into this because I worked with Billy and Bruce and oh Lord, there was so many people. Melissa Hovey, these people they gave you good information, and it was wonderful to get that.
Yeah.
And you learned so much by their experience. And one of the things that I try to, and I don't want anybody to get upset, but I tried different types of investigative stuff that other people use, and I try to use it myself to see what works, what doesn't work for me, how things in the area that I'm in work out. So, I'm always excited to try something new. And that's the thing too, is don't get caught in a rut. Your way of researching is wonderful, but don't be so boxed in that you overlook good ideas from somebody else.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think we have a lot of that in this community.
Yeah. Yeah, this community can really get you down if you let it.
Yeah.
But, you gotta line yourself up with the right people.
Yeah.
So,
and it's important. It's important too to be aligned with good people.
yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest. I'm so thankful for this podcast. I've got a lot of medical stuff that's been going on. I've had knee trouble, back trouble, other stuff I don't want to get into, but I've not been able to really get out in the field like I used to. For the simple fact that, I just can't do it the way I used to. And with this podcast, we're sharing information, which is critical. We have excellent guests on here. Our listeners are phenomenal. Without you guys listening to this show, it wouldn't be a show. There wouldn't be any transfer of information. And the quality of people that we have listening to this show is phenomenal. And I want to thank each and every one of our listeners for tuning in.
Yep.
I'm nobody special. I'm just some old country boy that, I had an encounter. I had a visual sighting, and I'm hooked.
Yep. Yep. And, get yourself lined up with good people. Tom Steenberg, we've already talked about Tom. Tom's got himself lined up with good people. You got Tennessee Cherokee and Jeffy Smith. Those two have been working together for a long time. And that's what's important here. You find someone that you trust, and you have that friendship, and you guys, it's almost like one can know what the other one's thinking. And that's what you need. That's one of the best things in this field. So, well, all right. Let me let y'all know about this event here that's coming up. Let's see here. So if anybody can, let me move that thing out of the way here. There we go. If anyone's up near and around Colorado, they're having the big conference 2025. It'll be Saturday, May 24th, 2025, between 9 and 7. They're having it at the Omni Interlocking Hotel in Bloomfield, Colorado. And you can go to that website down there, BigfootInvestigateGroup.com. If you need more information to get tickets and that kind of thing. So I'm sure that's going to be a really good one, because he's going to have some FLIR footage and stuff that he hasn't shared yet. So that should be. And
I'm going to be honest too. The price of that conference is super good. I think it's less than $30 a ticket.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's like 25 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I'd really like to go check that out, but Colorado is a little unreachable right now.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do right now. So,
Yeah. As my granddad used to say, that's a long walk from here, son.
that is a long walk.
Thomas Steinberg brought up something good here too, Billy, and I'd like to put that up there. Stick to the facts and never deviate from the facts. That right there is
Good.
probably
Yeah.
some of the best advice you will ever get. Stick to the facts.
Yep.
Don't deviate from the facts.
That's it. That's it. All right. Well, so next week, guys, next Monday night, again, we'll have Bob Streen on. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have another trivia question. I'll make it a little bit harder this time around, though. A little bit hard. I just wanted to give you an easy one today. So, anyway. So, we will see you guys next Monday night. Thank all of you for being here, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. And you guys make the show interesting. And that's what we want. We want the chat room to just come alive, because you guys just make our day. So we really do appreciate each and every one of you. So until next Monday night, you guys have a great rest of the week, and we will see you then. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
We are proud to announce that Sasquatch Watch Radio and the Bigfoot Investigative Group have joined forces. We are the exclusive podcast for Big. Tune in on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern for a live video podcast each week. Sign up for our email list at squatchradio.com and subscribe to us on YouTube. Never miss an exciting episode. Sasquatch Watch Radio, the exclusive podcast for the Navy SEALs team of Big.